Warning, the player selections you're about to see may flop miserably. FPL TV cannot be held responsible for any of your own transfer shockers. Please, FPL responsibly. Hey guys, and welcome back to the Fantasy Premier League Point Predictor, the series where I select 5 players that I believe will score 4 points or more in the upcoming FPL game week. Within these selections, I must include one defensive option, alongside 2 midfielders and 2 forwards, with one of each of those having to be valued below the price of 8 million. Also, I'm limited to choosing just one player per team. As always, if you are enjoying the series, please consider supporting FPL TV by dropping a like on the video and subscribing to stay tuned for more FPL content. Due to last week's quick turnaround in fixtures, there was no point predictor for Game Week 26, so let's quickly recap my choices from Game Week 25, where just 2 of my 5 selections returned points. Thank you as always to all of you that entered your own selections via the entry form below, where even with over 100 entries, not one person correctly predicted 5 out of 5 players. If you'd like to play along this week, then feel free to comment your choices below, or for a chance of a shout out in the next video, you can officially submit your selections using the link in the description. So let's move on now to my point predictor picks for Game Week 27. For my defensive option this week, I'm heading down the cheap route for a change, and selecting Stoke City's new signing, Moritz Bauer. For the point predictor, it is a bit of a gamble not selecting the big hitters in defence, like Marcos Alonso, Otamendi or Antonio Valencia, but the stats are weighing heavily in favour of a Stoke clean sheet at home to Brighton, so hopefully he turns out to be a sensible choice for this game week. Stoke City have certainly tightened things up at the back, with clean sheets in both of their home games since new manager Paul Lambert was appointed. And in addition to this, they now face a Brighton side who have the lowest scoring away record in the league, with just 6 goals scored on the road and only 1 in their last 7 attempts away from home. Moritz Bauer has shown some attacking threat too, creating many chances and crosses during his first 4 games as a Stoke player, so he looks a fairly decent budget option at 4.5 million. For the budget midfielder, again it was a difficult one this game week, with quite a few viable options to choose from. Xherdan Shaqiri being one, but with me already selecting a Stoke player, I can't choose him. Deulofeu and Bernardo Silva were also strong considerations, but I've landed on Theo Walcott in the end. A game to forget for Theo in Game Week 26, where he was substituted after 60 minutes on his return to the Emirates. However, this wasn't for a bad performance in particular, and the game was simply gone from Everton at that point. He did come very close to scoring in that game if it weren't for a sensational block from Mustafi, and prior to this game he bagged 2 goals and an assist in his previous 2 appearances, so let's hope he'll be backfiring this game week against Crystal Palace and gets me a nice green tick in the point predictor. My gut instinct really wanted to gamble on Bernardo Silva this week, but I bottled that decision in the end. For the any-priced midfielder, unfortunately it's a very familiar face in the point predictor, as I'm too scared to select anyone else other than Mohamed Salah. Chelsea's Eden Hazard was certainly a tempter, having scored 2 goals against his opponents West Brom earlier in the season, but with Chelsea in a bit of disarray lately, it moved me even closer towards Salah, who has been frighteningly consistent all season. As mentioned by various pundits over the weekend, we are witnessing something quite special from Salah, who in FPL has now returned points in 13 of his last 15 Premier League appearances. That is quite simply ridiculous form, and therefore it'd be madness not to select him, especially with him being on penalty duties too for Liverpool as he chases the Golden Boot. I've not had much luck in the point predictor recently, so knowing my luck, a blank is now incoming for Salah, so apologies in advance if that does happen, and I'll take full responsibility. My budget striker this week goes to Bournemouth's Callum Wilson. The Cherries have been on a superb run recently, going 7 games unbeaten in the league and winning 3 of their last 4. These include impressive wins over Arsenal and Chelsea, in which Callum Wilson scored in both. He's returned 4 goals and 2 assists from the last 7 games, which is impressive at this price range. But much like other budget options this season, he has been very inconsistent, scoring in the big games and then blanking in the more favourable. With a seemingly very easy fixture on the cards in Game Week 27, where he plays a Huddersfield side in disastrous form, on paper it looks great, but could this be another game where he disappoints his owners? Nevertheless, I'm sticking by him for this game week, as I still think Wilson is currently the best option at this price range, and his opponents Huddersfield have suffered 5 straight defeats, conceding 19 goals at home so far this season. The premium forward sees another familiar face in the point predictor, and it's Tottenham's Harry Kane. In the reverse of this fixture earlier in the season, Harry Kane was quite poor against Arsenal, but then again he was recovering from an injury at the time, and Arsenal are a very different outfit at home than they are on the road. Kane still has an exceptional record in London derbies, and against Arsenal in particular, he boasts 6 goals in 6 games, often being the match winner. Having been rested during the midweek FA Cup games, he'll return fresh and should be right up for this derby against a team who have conceded 21 goals away from home in just 13 games. And that wraps up my Game Week 27 point predictor. A few gambles mixed in with what should be a few bankers. On another day, it could have been very different in this point predictor, and notably there's no Chelsea or Man City players this week, both with decent home fixtures, so that's definitely a concern. But there's no going back now, so let's hope these players can deliver for me. As mentioned earlier, if you fancy your chances at selecting 5 players to return points this game week, then comment below or fill out the entry form in the description for a shout out in the next video. As always, to support this channel, please drop a like and subscribe for more FPL content. Catch you all very soon, and FPL responsibly.